Leo, you've probably seen a lot of videos promising change. Promising money. Promising magic. And let's be honest, you've probably clicked on a few, hoping just one of them might actually feel true. But this one is different. Here's why. Between September 17th and 19th, something rare is happening in the sky that directly affects your energy, your finances, and your confidence, the very things that define you. The Sun, your ruling planet, is syncing up perfectly with Jupiter, the planet of abundance, and Mercury, freshly out of retrograde, is finally clearing the fog. That means your path is open. Timing is ripe. The gate is unlocked. This is your moment. This video isn't about hype. It's about alignment. It's about understanding how 6 specific numbers carry energetic codes that can activate a massive shift in your financial frequency if you're open enough to recognize them, and grounded enough to receive them. And yes, I'm saying what it sounds like. Between the 17th and the 19th of September, the universe is handing you a chance to energetically align with a financial wave that could, if you're in sync, manifest into something as big as $7,777,777. And no, I'm not talking about wishful thinking or lottery dreams pulled from thin air. I'm talking about vibrational alignment, soul-based readiness, and timing that is not accidental. The truth is, wealth doesn't show up when we're desperate for it. It comes when we're calibrated. When we stop grasping and start trusting. When we stop racing and start listening. When we stop blaming ourselves and start preparing for the life that's actually meant for us. These 6 numbers I'm going to share with you are more than digits. They're energetic doors. Each one connects to a part of your being: your nervous system, your ability to rest, your confidence, your creativity, your boundaries, and your intuition. This is not about gambling. This is about getting in flow with where your soul is trying to take you next. So if something inside you led you here today, whether it was curiosity, a quiet nudge, or something you can't quite explain, don't ignore it. You're not here because you're lucky. You're here because you're ready. Before we begin, let me say this: thank you. Thank you for showing up even if your life feels messy, uncertain, or stuck. You being here means you haven't given up. And that alone? That's magnetic. That's powerful. That's the exact kind of energy wealth recognizes and responds to. Now I want to ask you to do one thing, right now. Comment below and write, "I'm ready to receive what's already mine." Not because it's magic, but because when you speak it, you start becoming the version of you who already believes it's possible. Take a breath. Stay with me. We're just getting started, and what's coming next might just change everything. When life starts feeling heavy, like you've been holding your breath for far too long, that's not a coincidence, it's a signal. And if you're a Leo, you know better than anyone what it's like to carry the weight of expectations, of performance, of always showing up bold and brave even when you're exhausted inside. That's why the first shift we're stepping into is not loud or flashy. It's subtle. It's sacred. It's about softening. The energy of the number 18 speaks directly to that part of you that's tired, not from failure, but from effort. Constant, silent effort. This number doesn't ask you to do more. It whispers that it's finally safe to do less. Not because you're giving up, but because something greater wants to reach you, and it can't land on a body that's constantly bracing for impact. The truth is, abundance doesn't thrive in tension. It flows through peace. It finds you when your nervous system isn't screaming for relief, but quietly ready to receive. And that's not just metaphysical talk. That's energy. That's biology. That's real. When your body is in survival mode, your system diverts energy away from digestion, from sleep, from restoration. Your gut tightens, your shoulders clench, your breath shortens. And in that place of constant contraction, there is no space for new ideas, let alone miracles. That's why healing doesn't begin with fixing. It begins with creating space within the breath, within the gut, within the calendar where something new can finally breathe. The guidance here is simple: make room. And not just on your schedule, but inside your spirit. Give yourself a sacred pause each morning, just 10 minutes where you don't scroll, don't solve, don't fix. Just breathe. You'd be amazed what happens when you do nothing with intention. That's what holy idleness is, a doorway for abundance to enter through rest, not rush. And as that space clears, something else awakens: creativity. It's no accident that number 39 follows. Because once your system stops panicking, your soul starts whispering. That idea you had months ago, the one you thought was silly, or small, or just a hobby. That might be the exact seed the universe has been waiting to water. What if your joy isn't a distraction from your path, but the compass toward it? Leo, you weren't born to be silent. You were born to be expressed fully, unapologetically, artfully. The energy of 39 taps into your solar magic, your voice, your message. This number asks, what have you been swallowing that needs to be spoken? Where have you muted yourself to keep things peaceful or predictable? And more importantly, what would change if you stopped editing your light? When your throat chakra is blocked, it doesn't just affect your voice. It clogs your ideas, your trust, your immune system. But when that energy clears, the ideas flow. The right words find you. And sometimes money does, too. Especially when it flows through something that's deeply true for you. This isn't about becoming a content creator or quitting your job. It's about recognizing where your soul has been trying to speak and inviting it back into the conversation. Maybe you reopen that journal. Maybe you pitch that old idea again. Maybe you start something new, not for likes, not for approval, but for joy. Because creativity is currency. And when it's aligned, it pays you in more ways than one. Take a moment now and think, what's one thing that used to light you up, that you've silenced? Breathe into it. And if something stirs, don't run. Write it down. Whisper it aloud. Let it come back to life in your hands. Then, when you're ready, share it with us in the comments. Not because it needs to be perfect, but because your courage might be the exact permission someone else is waiting for. And because every time you share your light, the universe takes notice and responds in kind. After you've begun to make space to slow down, to breathe, to listen again, the next wave that rises doesn't ask for effort. It asks for trust. And that's where number 26 steps in. Not with fanfare, but with quiet steadiness, like the still voice you've tried to ignore in your chest for far too long. If you've ever waited for money when you desperately needed it, you know that it rarely shows up in those moments. Not because you don't deserve it, but because desperation signals to the universe that you don't actually believe it will come. And what we vibrate, we invite. That's not just spiritual theory, that's energetic law. What you embody, you extend. What you extend, you attract. The deeper truth is this: money doesn't follow fear. It responds to presence. And presence can't happen if you're holding your breath in panic. The energy of 26 speaks directly to this, a moment where you're invited to rewire your relationship with trust itself. Not blind hope. Not surface optimism. But soul-rooted, muscle-deep belief that what you've planted will bloom. Even when nothing is visible above ground yet. Think about it like this: when you plant a seed, you don't come back the next day and yell at the soil. You water it. You wait. You trust the unseen. And yet, when it comes to our finances or careers or healing, we're quick to abandon the process if results don't come immediately. That anxious questioning, is it working? Am I doing enough, actually interrupts the very growth we're praying for. Energetically, number 26 asks, are you operating from your truth, or from your fear of not being enough? That's a hard question. But it's one worth asking. I've sat across from so many people who've said, I've done the affirmations. I've visualized. I've journaled. Why is nothing changing? And my answer is always the same: are you doing all those things from a place of alignment? Or as a way to fix what you secretly believe is broken? There's a big difference between saying, I believe abundance is coming, and feeling safe even when it hasn't arrived yet. And that's what number 26 is trying to teach you. Not just belief, but the nervous system capacity to hold belief. You'll know this number is working in your life when you stop needing external confirmation to keep going. When you're able to sit with uncertainty without spiraling. When you start choosing what aligns, not what temporarily soothes your panic. And yes, your heart might feel heavy in this space. Because often, this is where the ghosts of old relationships, old agreements, old expectations start to rise. They were built in survival mode, and now they need to go. Letting go of those old energetic contracts isn't betrayal. It's healing. It's making space for something that actually honors who you've become. That's why the number 26 isn't here to reward your hustle. It's here to recognize your inner stability. The wealth you're calling in doesn't come because you're doing more, it comes because you've become someone who no longer doubts their own value when the numbers don't show it yet. So take a breath. Place your hand on your chest. And ask yourself this, not as a performance, but as an honest reflection. Am I abandoning myself just because things haven't shown up yet? That one question can shift everything. If this part of the message resonates with you, I want to hear from you. Share in the comments what this moment is asking you to trust, not blindly, but boldly. Speak it into being. Because the moment you stop needing proof is often the moment the proof begins to arrive. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for your growth and for your finances is not to push harder, but to step back and say, no more of this. That's the quiet, grounded medicine of number 44. It's not loud. It doesn't come in the form of grand gestures or massive changes. Instead, it begins with a whisper, the kind that says, this version of you? The one who constantly overextends to be liked, accepted, needed? It's time to let that version rest. If you've ever found yourself saying yes when your whole body screamed no out of politeness, fear, guilt, or just habit, then this is where your next breakthrough lies. Because 44 is about balance. Not just between your time and your tasks, but between your masculine and feminine energies, between doing and receiving, between effort and ease. And this isn't just theory, it plays out in your biology. When your boundaries are porous, your energy leaks. Your hormones fluctuate. Your nervous system stays stuck in overdrive, unable to reset. Your sleep becomes shallow. Your creativity dries up. You start moving through life like a version of yourself, not the real thing. But when you begin to reclaim your space, when you learn to say no without apology and yes without obligation, something starts to shift. Your energy softens. Your nervous system recalibrates. And suddenly, life begins to meet you with the same clarity you're offering it. In energy work, we often talk about energetic real estate. If your life is too cluttered with people, tasks, obligations that drain you, there's literally no room for something new to land. But once you clear space, life rushes in to fill it. Number 44 doesn't demand discipline. It invites alignment. It asks you to notice the subtle ways your life has grown out of sync with who you've become. Maybe it's the job you no longer enjoy but keep out of duty. Maybe it's the friend you keep texting back even though the connection has faded. Or maybe it's the way you still take on too much, thinking more effort will finally get you the peace you're craving. But peace doesn't come from productivity. It comes from honesty. That's why this phase is so essential. Because wealth real, soul-aligned, lasting wealth can't live where resentment does. It won't grow in soil that's been trampled by overcommitment. But it will thrive where there is space, boundaries, respect. This isn't about becoming selfish. It's about becoming sacred with your time, your body, your truth. And when you do that, when you let go of what's no longer yours to carry, you'll notice something incredible. The flow returns. Financial opportunities that once felt blocked start opening up. Your health stabilizes. Your sleep deepens. Your mind clears. Not because you did more, but because you stopped betraying your own limits. If this feels hard, start small. Write down 3 things in your life that you've been saying yes to out of guilt or habit. Then pick just one and gently, kindly, but firmly let it go. That single act of energetic honesty is more magnetic than any strategy. Because when you show the universe you're ready to protect your peace, it meets you with more of what supports it. This is how we begin to live in alignment, not just survive in chaos. You don't have to be the one who holds it all together. You just have to be the one who holds true to yourself. That's the real work. And it's the kind that pays in all the ways that matter. Some breakthroughs don't come with fireworks. They arrive in silence, often disguised as endings. Not the kind of endings that explode, but the kind that settle, softly, after a long season of holding on too tightly. That's what the energy of 55 brings. It's not just about transformation, it's about the sacred art of release, the uncomfortable but necessary act of shedding the old so the new can find space to breathe. If you've ever walked through a season where everything felt stuck, where the same patterns kept looping no matter how much you tried to shift them, you know exactly what I mean. Sometimes, it's not because you're broken. It's because something in your energy field is full, cluttered with habits, memories, identities you've outgrown but haven't released. Number 55 doesn't judge that. It just offers you a choice: continue repeating what no longer serves you. Or let it burn away so something better can be born. This is where the inner work gets real. Because releasing is not the same as giving up. Letting go doesn't mean you've failed. In fact, it's the opposite. Letting go is often the final act of wisdom, the moment your soul decides it's ready for more than what it's been settling for. But you can't bring new energy into a body still gripping old patterns. And those patterns? They don't just live in your mind. They live in your cells. Your liver, your lymphatic system, your emotional gut. That's why the energy of 55 connects so deeply to detoxification, not just physically, but emotionally. The body stores everything you haven't processed. The anger you swallowed. The resentment you buried. The fear you normalized. Over time, those unspoken feelings start to weigh you down in fatigue, in inflammation, in brain fog, in disconnection. And the moment you begin releasing them, your entire being starts to recalibrate. You sleep deeper. You think clearer. Your body finally exhales. And then, the money shows up. Yes, really. Unexpected refunds. Random deposits. A job offer you didn't apply for. A client who forgot about you suddenly circling back. Not because the universe just got generous overnight, but because you stopped blocking the flow with fear disguised as control. When your energy shifts, your external world has no choice but to catch up. That's the law. That's alignment. So here's the invitation. Take a moment and get honest. What's one habit, thought, relationship, or version of yourself you've outgrown but still carry? You don't need to fix it today. But name it. Acknowledge it. That's the first crack of light. Then write this out, not for anyone else, just for you. I choose to release, and fill in the blanks with 3 things you've been dragging behind you. Say them gently. But say them with finality. You'd be amazed how much energy starts to move the moment you name what you're done with. This number isn't here to punish you. It's here to prepare you. Because what's next can't walk through the door until what no longer belongs has walked out. And when it does, when you clear the space and signal to life that you're available for something new, the breakthroughs you've been waiting for often arrive quietly, almost casually, like they were always yours. Because maybe they were. Maybe they were just waiting for you to make room. There's a moment, and maybe you felt it before, when everything is quiet around you, but something inside begins to stir. Not fear. Not urgency. Just a gentle nudge, like the soft pull of a tide you can't see, but somehow trust. That's the energy of number 31. Not the loud bang of clarity, but the still whisper of intuition, finally being heard. At this stage of your journey, after you've released the tension, reclaimed your time, and cleared away what no longer fits, what's left is space. And in that space, something sacred awakens, your inner guidance. Not the checklist version of a plan, not the overthinking mind that wants every step to make sense, but the part of you that already knows. This number doesn't come to hand you a full map. It hands you a key and points to a door that only you can open. But here's the thing. The door only appears when you stop demanding certainty and start honoring resonance. We live in a world that glorifies logic, but intuition? That's the language of the soul. It doesn't always speak in sentences. Sometimes it's a feeling, a symbol, a sudden knowing that rises in your gut before your mind can explain it. In energy medicine, we know this is not random, it's how your frequency begins to align with a possibility that's been waiting for you all along. Gamma brainwaves, which are enhanced through stillness, meditation, and emotional coherence, are often linked to heightened perception, insight, and decision-making. Not because you're overanalyzing, but because you're in flow. And this matters for your finances too. Because when your system is too overwhelmed or too doubtful, you literally can't recognize opportunity even if it's standing right in front of you. You miss the phone call. You dismiss the idea. You delay the decision. But when you're calm, grounded, and trusting your signal, that's when the right things find you. Clients, invitations, surprise income, they don't land when you're in panic. They land when you're present. And presence is born from trust. Number 31 isn't asking you to change your whole life today. It's asking you to take one step, the one that your soul keeps nudging you toward. Maybe it's making that phone call. Maybe it's saying yes to something small but meaningful. Maybe it's just giving yourself permission to move without needing to explain yourself to anyone. Because not everyone will see your vision, and that's okay. It wasn't given to them. It was given to you. So here's what I invite you to do, tonight, when the world is quiet. Close your eyes, place your hand over your heart, and ask, what is my next aligned step? Don't force the answer. Just listen. It might show up right then, or tomorrow morning, or in the middle of a random conversation. But it will show up. That's the promise of number 31. When you trust the signal, the path reveals itself. And if something inside you already knows what that next step is, even if it feels small, even if it doesn't fully make sense, honor it. Take it. Your intuition is not a backup plan. It's your blueprint. It's the GPS of your soul. And the more you follow it, the clearer everything becomes, not because the world changes instantly, but because you do. Let this final wave not be about doing more, but about hearing more. Feeling more. Trusting more. The version of you that's been waiting on the sidelines? They're ready now. Not to leap, but to begin. Because you don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You just need to believe that you were never meant to stay still. Leo, if you're still here with me, then deep down, you already know. Something has shifted. Not just in the stars, but in you. Maybe it was a whisper. A breath. A moment of stillness that wrapped around a single sentence and lit up your chest like a quiet sunrise. But let me tell you this, that flicker inside you, it's real. It's not just hope. It's readiness. And it's sacred. You didn't come here to chase wealth. You came here to remember that you are the field it grows in. You didn't stumble upon this video by accident. The numbers, the timing, the words, they found you. Because your soul was calling for alignment, not applause. For truth, not noise. And for the kind of abundance that doesn't just fatten your bank account, but expands your entire life. You're not waiting for the universe to choose you anymore. You're stepping into the truth that you've always been chosen. This was never about being lucky. It was about becoming resonant. Magnetic. Responsible for your energy. Ready to receive what you no longer feel the need to earn through suffering. So now I ask you, what part of today's message stirred something in you? Which number clung to your heart like it already knew your name? Which color will you wear or meditate with this week to anchor your intention? Share it below in the comments. Let this not just be another video you watched, let it be a mirror that called you back to your power. You have the permission to begin again. You have the wisdom to do it differently. And most of all, you have the inner authority to walk forward even if no one claps, because you finally believe in your own rhythm. Take a moment now. Breathe. Close your eyes if it feels right. Place your hand on your chest and ask, what energy am I done borrowing from others? And what do I now choose to generate from within? Let that question stay with you, not to pressure you but to keep your awareness awake. Because the truth is, you don't need more proof. You just need more trust in your own alignment. Thank you for spending this time with me here on Eternal Mindfulness. Your presence, your openness, your willingness to listen, it matters more than you know. Every like, every share, every thoughtful comment is what keeps this space alive and expansive. I'm deeply grateful to walk this path alongside you. And if you felt something shift today, however small, then I invite you to subscribe, so you never miss another moment of alignment. And please, pass this message forward to someone you love. You never know who's just one number, one word, one nudge away from their breakthrough. You are the activator, not the one waiting for activation. You are the wealth, not just the recipient of it. And you are the light, not the reflection. Now go live like it.